Chris Hopper.
Chris was my alliance partner. Chris and I have been in alliance since the very beginning. We shared everything, and he and I work on the Ichthus together, and so I know him pretty well. And he ran into me and he was like, "Oh, I'm so excited for the mole," and I said, "Wait, I didn't realize that you were playing." And he's like, "Yeah, apparently nobody did because I used a different email address. They said to not use your Harvard address, so I didn't use my Harvard address." And I was like, "Oh, you know, I guess like I should tell them that I actually do know you because I didn't realize that I didn't recognize your email." And he was like, "Yeah, it actually got me into trouble because you know how they like, kept sending out like saying respond, one person has not responded yet." It was me because I don't ever check that email, and that just sounded like a totally Chris move, and like it was perfectly in character. It was so unprompted, like it was so believable. I was just like, there's no way he's making this up. There's no way that he's the mole.
So Chris, like I said, I just had weird suspicions about. Although as the game went on, I began to realize that my suspicions were really just a sense of his awkwardness in the context of this game. And yeah, I like realized like, oh, when he's like really quiet and doing weird things, like it's not because he's the mole, it's just like he's a little bit awkward. Like that's great. I know all about awkwardness, like no hard feelings. But yeah, I like realized that maybe he wasn't the person to target, and he was just kind of like an interesting character to have around. But I think part of the reason why I suspected him early on was because I like didn't really know him as a person at all, and didn't know if his like behavior was suspicious or awkward. So it took a few challenges to like realize that it was the latter, not the former.
Chris was just kind of like there all of the time, and I was also glad when he went because I don't think he was really adding that much to the game, and I also know he didn't particularly care for me, so I was glad to get rid of an enemy.
He was too under the radar for a while for me to really get a vibe from him, but as an eliminated player, he was like really cool. We were guards in the basement together until he tagged someone out, and I went upstairs because everyone else was out.
I didn't really get a chance to meet Chris that well.
Chris got eliminated for the same reason that I got eliminated. I found out afterwards, so I feel like, yeah, we both thought the same person was the mole, so I feel like I understood what he was going through.
Chris, really funny guy, he's into Wolf too. Again, didn't get to know him too much through the mole, but again, he seems like a cool guy, and he seems like he was just trying to have fun and really, you know, just playing to have a good time.
Chris is really fun and nice to talk to. He comes and sits with me in the dining hall just to make small talk, and it's nice to know someone else from the Midwest.
Chris, I thought that Chris was the mole for up until he left. Like, between the trapezoid thing, not knowing what a trapezoid was, and between your sketchy R and you being really under the radar, like, way to go. Like, you really played it up. But I don't know if it's just your natural demeanor or not, but you're very under the radar, and he was a big suspect, my biggest suspect, and you ruined everything when you were out, because now I had no idea who the mole was because everything pointed to you. So way to go, Chris. Good job.
Chris is just quiet, and he's cool and he's calm, and he was really fun to be around. He was kind of like almost a calming presence in the game, which like was built on chaos and distrust. He was a really cool guy to interact with during the game.
Yeah, I'm really glad I got to know him better through the mole. Like I had known him before kind of a little bit through band, a little bit because he's like friend of a friend, but I'm really glad like we got to become better friends. So that was cool. Yeah, I was so suspicious of him earlier on. It's really funny to me, but he was acting very suspiciously throughout the game. Like, I don't know, he'd say like ominous things. Be very ominous, but also cheerful, so it's very interesting. He would just like do stuff that was inconsistent, like say he's bad at math, but then he would join the good at math team. That didn't quite make sense. So I knew he was kind of trying to play it up to be more. But then that's kind of Chris-ish, to just kind of play the game, act a little moly, but not moly, keep people guessing. I mean, that's what you want to do, so he played a good game.